So I lived many different lives. So since when I graduated up to where I am today. And this is something that I keep telling also to students and MBA that I typically meet with, or let's say I have the honor and the privilege to have conversation with, is the fact that, the more diverse your career path is, especially in the first few years, and the deeper your personal journey of self-reflection and understanding becomes. So I will share with you my journey, which is multifaceted, so very diverse. But now looking back, it gave me the unique opportunity to understand who Elisa is and who Elisa can become. Okay, so right after the university, so when I graduated, I started working at the university as a research assistant and teaching assistant within the economics department, in particular labor economics field, with one of the, let's say, most brilliant minds and thinkers globally. He's Professor Tito Boeri, and it has been a fascinating experience, very, very hard and challenging, as you can imagine, because the bar of excellence is more than 100%. It's so high that it feels impossible to achieve, but it gives you also the intrinsic motivation to invest, all your effort, all your time in doing the best that you can, and in learning as much as you can. So I felt like a sponge in the first 2 years working with this professor and his unique research team. So I absorbed so much. Always with this humility and feeling that, I was probably 10% compared to them, but always felt part of the team. And again, this is another important learning that I keep in my toolbox when I look back, because the fact that also junior people should feel, let's say, part of a more senior team. And especially in the early days, probably they will not contribute because they have no clue how to contribute. But the fact that you're making them feel part of the team can have massive impact on the motivation and the so-called drive. Daniel Pink would say the drive of these people. And so this happened in the first few years, just after I graduated. And then all of a sudden, I applied for a job posting online. It was an anonymous job posting. They were looking for a research assistant in a anonymous center in the middle of Paris. And I was, let's say, attracted by the fact that it was so mysterious, so anonymous. And so I traveled to Paris, and then when I got there, I still remember, I was just staring at this big door, typical Parisian door, close to Champs-Élysées. And then I saw that, Harvard Business School, and I started trembling, and I was like, what? So am I, going to interview for Harvard Business School? Yes. So long story short, then I spent another couple of years as research assistant at the Europe Research Center in Paris, which is an overseas research center of Harvard Business School. They have these research centers in each country. So they have one in Europe, South America, in India, in China, if I well remember, and again, another, let's say, totally unexpected experience in my life. I was still in the academic world, so not so different from, let's say, the environment where I used to work, but very different tasks, because now I was expected, to write in English, because I was authoring and co-authoring case studies, articles for the magazine, contributing to some book chapters. So on the one hand, I was already very good and proficient in dealing with professors, so how to manage the team dynamics in an academic world. But then on the other hand, I was not a native speaker, so I was Italian, and I was expected to do something that it was not a purely quantitative approach, but it was more qualitative, storytelling and writing. and so totally out of my comfort zone. But then I still remember, my previous mentor and professor, Boeri, telling me, dream bigger, go, don't be afraid. You will find ways, to deliver on these new tasks, but don't give up. Don't say, oh, I'm not that kind of person. You are only 25, 26, so go and dream bigger. I spent 2 years in Paris, also traveling back and forth from Boston. We also started first discussions about enrolling in a PhD in Harvard. And I got to a point that I was, let's say, more yes than no in embarking on this journey. But then, when I pause and reflect, because this is another important thing, so you should always pause and reflect about your key decision in your career journey. I evaluated very carefully the pros and cons, and I felt that I was not mature enough to embark on a PhD journey because I wanted to see, let's say, more things, different things, especially on the other side of the world. So far I had spent 4 years and a half in the academic world. I also wanted to have a view and a foot in the real world, in the business world. And so that's why I got to meet my former boss, Alessandro Di Fiore. He was, by the way, the publisher at that time of Harvard Business Review in Italy. So that's why it happened by chance that we met in Paris. And he was starting his new venture, strategy consulting, with a branch, let's say a small branch for research center. And so he asked me to lead the research center, but then, we were such a small boutique consulting firm that in the end I had one foot in the research center, 1 foot in the consulting assignments. And this paid off, over time, because I also had to practice a bit the lawyer job, to be honest, because when you're consulting with big firms, you feel, the more senior you become, that you need also to master some of the lawyer skills and capabilities, especially in negotiation, let's say. And so I realized over time that there's beauty and power in working at the intersection of these two worlds, and avoid the trap of becoming siloed. So, and this is valid both for professors and academics, as well as for consultants, but also for people working in large organizations. And so I experimented firsthand the beauty of cross-fertilization, of continuous exchange, of learning. And initially it was more from the academic world to the business world. But in the last decade, we are also witnessing another wave coming from the business world and feeding into the academic world. If we take, for instance, sustainability is a topic in which organizations are much more advanced in thinking and practice compared to professors, because they have to deal with sustainability challenges every single day. And the complexity of sustainability challenges across fields, let's say, gives a sort of advantage to the businesses compared to academics and professors. And so, again, it's a mutual way of exchange and building on each other ideas and nurturing ideas. And this is what I love. This is what motivates me. This is what I see also is appreciated from both sides. Okay, the fact that they can both benefit from this exchange. It's not easy to work at the intersection of these two worlds because they speak different languages. They have different currencies. They have different paces, So the business world goes very, very fast, and the academic world goes a bit slower. And then the currency of the business is typically money, visibility, but this is not the currency of academics who are, willing to collect data and publish on top A journals and, develop their own theoretical frameworks while the business, they want solution now. And so again, it's it's a matter of balancing the trade-offs, but when the magic happens, is fascinating the value that you can unlock when you can put different peoples at the same table.